narrated from Abu Rafi that Bisam rotated one day by all his wives, right? Making ghusl by this one and by this one. So he said, I said to him, no, no, why don't you make it one ghusl? So he said that it's more pure, right? Abu Dawud says in the hadith of Anas is more asah. And Qatada, we said that Anas, that one before that, you understand it, the hadith before that, we Anas of the ذات يوم على مقداره بغسل واحد. Right. Firstly, the first point is come here is how did Abu Rafi know that Nabi Sallam was made ghusl after everyone? So the answer to that is that the Abu Rafi was also one of the Khadim. He wasn't a stranger, right? And he used to get the full water ready. Right. So Musannif Rahmullah is showing that these two hadiths they clashing. And because the previous hadith is showing that he made one ghusl after all. And this hadith is showing that he made ghusl after each wife, right? So therefore Musannif Rahmullah says that the hadith of Anas is more sahih, right? So basically he's saying the incident of Anas is more correct. You understand it? And therefore, right. وبه قال حدثنا عمرو بن عون قال اخبرنا حفص بن غياث عن عاصم الاحولي ان ابي المتوكل ابي سعيد الخدري عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال اذا اتى احدكم اهله ثم بدا له ان يعود ان يعاود فليتوضا بينهما وضوءا. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri one of you come to his family, then he appears to him to return. Then he should make between them a wuzu. So this hadith shows that you must make a wuzu between the two, right? This is the Zahiriyya, they say it is wajib. Jamhur say it is mustahab. And the Jamhur's proof is from another hadith, which in Hakim, where it says, وَإِنَّهُ أَنْشَطُ لِلْعَوْدِ, because it is more lively. In other words, it will bring more spring in the step for returning. You understand it? When you have to make a jima again. So that's the proof to say it is mustahab. Babun fil junubi yanamu. The chapter in regards to a person in state of janaba to sleep. For a junubi to make wuzu before sleeping, according to Aimai Al-Bad, it is mustahab. According to the Dawood Zahiri and Ibn Habib Malik, it is wajib. وبه قال حدثنا عبد الله بن مسعود عن مالك بن عبد الله بن جاني عبد الله بن عمر انه قال ذكر عمر بن الخطاب يا رسول الله انه تصيبه الجنابه من الليل فقال له رسول الله تودع واغسل ذكرك ثم نم. Nabi Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Khattab mentioned to Nabi Sallallahu that Janabat afflicted him that night. So Nabi Sallallahu told him that make wuzu and wash your zakar, then sleep. Right. Some indicate that this actually happened to Hazrat Ibn Umar, right? And not Umar radiallahu anhu, right? So there is in Nasai, there is a hadith which says that once Abdullah ibn Umar, he got janabat at night, and then he told his father, right? And then the Umar radiallahu anhu asked the Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so how do you reconcile between the two? Is it possible that it happened to Abdullah ibn Umar and this incident could have happened to Umar radiallahu anhu also, right? Babul Junubi Yakulu, the chapter of the person in state of Janabat can eat. The person in state of Janabat, he can eat with conscience, right? And for him to make wuzu, it is preferable. In some riwayat, it shows that Nabi Karim made wuzu, right? So you find here There are different rule, and some riwayat showed that Nabi Akram washed their hands. So what we could say is those places where wudu come, it could mean wudu al-lukwi, which means washing the hands, right? But then there is one riwayat which says, tawadda wudu'ahu lis-salat. He made wudu is wudu for salat, right? So that would refer to wudu al-shar'i. So this obviously will be at different occasions. Sometimes you wash his hand, sometimes you make wudu al-shar'i. وبه قال حدثنا مسدد بن قتيبة بن سعيد قال حدثنا سفيان بن زهري عن ابي سلمة عن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت ان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان اذا اراد ان ينام وهو جنب توضا وضوءه لصلاته. Aisha رضي الله عنها said that when he intended to sleep while he was inside of Janaba, he make wudu for salah. Right. وبيقول حدثنا محمد بن سباح البزاز وقال حدثنا ابن مبارك بن يونس عن الزهري بإسناده ومعناه زاد وإذا أراد أن يأكل وجنب غسل يديه. And when he intended, so he also is narrated, but they increased here. He said when he intended to eat, while instead of janaba, he would wash his hands. قال أبو داود ورواه ابن وهب عن يونس فجعل قصة الأكل قول عائشة مكسورا. Ibn Wahab also narrated from Yunus, and he made the story of the eating part, right? The statement of Aisha confined to us, Aisha statement confined to us, Aisha. ورواه صالح بن ابي الاخضر عن الزهري كما قال ابن المبارك الا انه قال عن عروه او ابي سلمة. ورواه الاوزاعي عن يونس عن الزهري عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كما قال ابن المبارك. Right. Then we have here also the Salih ibn al-Akhtar also narrate from Zuhri, just as Ibn Mubarak narrate from Zuhri, except that he says from Urwa or from Abi Salman. And Awzai narrates from Yunus, from Zuhri, from the Nabi, just as Ibn Mubarak says. So what is that we're referring now here? Right. Usada is referring to Yunus, right? In the first sentence, we'll find that the student of Sufyan, the student of Zuhri was Sufyan. Look at it, the first student. And his Hadas Sufyan and his Zuhri. You got it, right? And in this one, it is Yunus. And Yunus and his Zuhri. Right? So what it shows here is that when Sufyan narrated from Zuhri, he only spoke about wudu at the time of sleeping, right? And when Yunus narrated from Zuhri, then he spoke about the eating also, right? And the washing of the hands, right? Then we find that Nakuda says, وَرَوَى ابْنُ وَهَبْ and Yunus type. Then we have that Yunus also now. One is Yunus narrating from Zuhri. Then the students of Yunus now, right? They make ikhtilaf, right? So in the first standard day, the student of Yunus is Ibn Mubarak. And the second standard is Ibn Wahab, right? And the difference between their two narrations is that Ibn Mubarak narrated from Yunus that he mentioned the story of the eating and the sleeping, and he made both marfu. Whereas Ibn Wahab, right? He also narrated from Yunus, right? And he makes the story of the sleeping marfu, but the story of the eating, he made it maqsoor, confined it to Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. That's the statement of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. You got that now? Right. Babu man qala al-junubu yatawadda'u. The chapter who says, of the one who says that the person in Janabat, he will make wudu. So this what is just showing here. That in the first bar, what we saw, that the first bar was wudu junub in the now, right? And the second two barbs was what to do wudu in the akhl, right? And then it shows that in the akal was Taslul Yadain, right? And now this is the second bab here, right? That is showing that in the akal, in halat janabat, wuzu shar'i. Got it now. The first bab shows wuzu in the noun. And the second bab it shows washing hands in the akal. And the third bab is showing wuzu in the akal. الجنب يتودع ولا حدثنا مصدق ولا حدثنا يحيى ولا حدثنا شعبة الحكم ابراهيم المسعود عائشة النبي صلى كان اذا اراد ان ياكل او ينام تودع تعني وهو جنوب. Aisha radiallahu anha, Nabi when he intended to eat or sleep, you make wudu. She meant while she is in the state of janaba. Right. وبيقول حدثنا موسى يعني ابن اسماعيل ولا حدثنا مالك ولا اخبرنا اطول الخراساني ان يحيى بن يعمر ان يعمر بن ياسر من النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رخص للجنوب اذا اكل او شرب او نام ان يتوضا. Therefore, Malik bin Yasir and Nabi Islam gave leeway for the person in the state of janaba. When you want to eat or drink or sleep, then he should make wudu. قال أبو داود بين يحيى بن عمرو ومالك بن ياسر في هذا الحديث رجل. Abu Dawud says between Yahya ibn Ya'mar and Malik ibn Yasir, this hadith, there is a man. There is somebody there. She and Yahya ibn Ya'mar and Malik ibn Yasir. There is somebody in between it. وقال علي بن أبي طالب وابن عمر وعبد الله بن عمر عمر الجنوب إذا أراد أن يأكل تودأ. Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ibn Umar and Abdullah ibn Amr, they say that Junub, when he intends to eat, he should make wudu. Right, so they say mazhab. Babun fil Junubi yu'akhiru ghusla. The chapter in regard to the Junub who delays the ghusl. So what it means is the person at the beginning of the night, right, he gets janabat, then he doesn't have to make wudu at that time. He can't make wudu at the end of the night, there is no harm. وبي قال حدثنا محدث قال حدثنا معتمد وحدثنا عبد الرحمن قال حدثنا اسماعيل بن ابراهيم قال حدثنا برد بن سنان عن عباده بن مسيب عن ربيب بن حارث قال قلت لعائشه رايت رسول الله كان يغتسل من الجنابه في اول الليل او في اخره. قالت ربما يغتسل في اول الليل وربما يغتسل في اخره. قلت الله اكبر الحمد لله الذي جعل في الامر سعه. قلت ارايت رسول الله كان يؤثر كان يؤثر اول الليل ام في اخره. قالت ربما اوتر في اول الليل وربما اوتر في اخره. قل الله اكبر الحمد لله الذي جعل في الامر سعه. قالت ارايت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يجهر بالقران ويخافت به. قالت ربما جهر به وربما خفت. قلت الله اكبر الحمد لله الذي جعل في الامر سعه. Narrated from Rabib ibn Harith. I said to Aisha, you see Nabi used to make ghusl from janaba at the beginning of the night or the end. So he said sometimes you make ghusl at the beginning and sometimes you make ghusl at the end. So she said, I said, Allahu Akbar. All praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made easiness in the matter. And I said, do you see Nabi used to make witr at the beginning of the night or the end? So she said, sometimes you make witr at the beginning of the night and sometimes you make witr at the end of the night. So I said, Allahu Akbar, all praise to Allah ta'ala who will make in the matter easiness. So I said, do you see Nabi used to read loud Quran or you read soft Quran? He said, sometimes you read loud and sometimes you soft. So I said, Allahu Akbar, alhamdulillah, ja'ala fil amri sa'atan. Yeah, okay. So there's nothing there, right? There's nothing to explain there. There's option of doing both in all cases. وبي قال حمزة حفظ بن عمر قال حمزة شعبة بن علي بن مدرك عن أبي زرعة عن عمرو بن جرير عن عبد الله بن نجين عن أبي علي عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تدخل الملائكة بيتا فيه سورة ولا كلب ولا جنب. Right from Ali from Nabi said the Malaika do not enter a house. It is a picture, no a dog, no a person in the state of janaba. So now this hadith clashes, you understand? It's going against the hadith mentioned just now, right? Because that hadith shows you can delay the ghusl. And here it says a Malaika of Rahmah just enter. Right. So this goes against the bab that the Muslim put out, right? Musannif does his habit, right? That he would sometimes bring a hadith which coincides with the Bab, you understand, and then bring a hadith which goes against the Bab, right? Right. So when it comes now to the right. So what answer we're going to give to this now? So we say that what it means here is that a person slept in the state of janabat, but he didn't make wudu. So this would be the best answer, right? Uh, that after making janabat, without making wudu, a person slept, and that's when the malaika won't enter, right? And there is a hadith into the Salasatul La Taqrubuhum al Malaika. Three people, the malaika don't come close to him. Jibatul Kafir, right? The body of a kafir, والمتضمخ بالخلوق, and the person who is anointed and put on that type of perfume which has sex in it. والجنوب إلا أن يتوضأ, and the person halat the janabat unless he makes wuzu. So it shows that you make wuzu and then go sleep, then the malaika will come close to you. All right. Then the other portion is the hadith, فَإِذَا فِي سُورَةً وَلَا قَلْبٌ, right? So Suratun here now, there's two things. One is to make the picture yourself, that is the verse. And one is to use that picture. That is the picture of an animate object, right? That is also not permissible, but it is lighter, right? In fact, sometimes they say to use a picture is permissible, right? Then the third point here about the dog, right? So there's two types of dog. One is ma'dunul ittikhar, those dogs that you are allowed to keep, and those who are غير مأذون الاتخاذ, those that you are not allowed to keep. So then there's ikhtilaf there that which dog now would prevent the malaika from entering. So most of them say those which are غير مأذون الاتخاذ, those which you are not allowed to keep, right? So those that you are allowed to keep, they won't prevent the malaika from entering, right? وبه قال حدثنا محمد بن كثير ولا سفيان بن اسحاق يقول عائشه بن قال كان الرسول ينام وجنوب من غير ان يمس سماء. ولا ابو داود حدثنا احمد بن علي الواسطي قال سمعت زي يزيد بن هارون يقول هذا الحديث وهم كان حديث ابن ابي اسحاق. Right. So that's right from Abi Ishaq. That's the Narawi and Abi speaking about. From Aswad, from Aisha, the Nabi would sleep while he was in state of Janabat without touching the water. Imam Abu Dawud says, Hasan ibn Ali al-Wasiti says that I heard Yazid ibn Harun saying that this hadith is a mistake, meaning the hadith of Abi Ishaq. So this hadith here shows, again, permissibility of the akhirul ghusl. However, we're saying without touching water, there's both possibilities. Without touching water means he didn't make ghusl and he didn't make wudu, or he didn't make ghusl only. Right? And Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha passed by the Nabi to make wudu. So the normal habit is to make wudu. Right? So here it means that he didn't, here will mean that he didn't make ghusl, but he did make wudu. Or the other meaning is that he didn't make ghusl and he didn't make wudu, to show that it's still permissible to go and sleep without making ghusl and without making wudu also. Right? The Imam Abu Dawud said this hadith here is not bad, weak, or a mistake here, right? Imam Tirmizi also says the same thing, right? That the ulama have said that this hadith here is a mistake, and this is also the opinion from Ahmad ibn Hanbal. In fact, some say that it is ijma' consensus among the muhaddithin that this was a mistake in this hadith. However, Ibn Hajar rahmatullah, he say you can't say that it's ijma' consensus because Imam Bayhaqi is regarded this hadith to be sahih. And he has rejected those who say that he was not Sahih. So why are they saying this? Because they say this the Rawi Abu Ishaq, yeah, he made a mistake. Right? And what mistake did he make? He made a mistake because this is a portion of a longer hadith, right? And he understood the hadith wrong. That's what they think, right? Because the hadith is كان ينام أول الليل ويحيي آخره ثم إن كانت له حاجة قضى حاجته. Right? He used to sleep at the beginning of the night and you would stay up at the end of the night. Then if there was for him a need, he would fulfill his need. Then he would sleep before touching water. Fulfilling his need here, they say, refers to relieving oneself and not jima. And Abu Ishaq is understood it to be jima, you understand? And that's where he made a mistake. Because this refers to relieving oneself, right? However, this point against Abu Ishaq here will be correct, right? If we take Lai Musuman, right, to mean negation of both wuzu and ghusl. Because we just said now that Nabi Karim person would make wuzu. You understand? So if it means Lai Musuman, he never should touch water, he never to make wuzu also, then you can say, okay, there's a valid point against the Rawi Abu Ishaq here, right? Then there is a hadith, right? In Muslim Shareef, right? Which explains the step here, which sort of helps what Abu Ishaq is saying, right? That ثم إن كانت له حاجة إلى أهله قضى حاجته. Also part of a long hadith. Then if he had the need for his family, he would fulfill his need. However, what's not mentioned in Muslim Shareef is la yamussu ma'an. Just after it's not mentioned, he didn't touch water. So understand what they're saying here. Abu Ishaq's riwayat is coinciding with the riwayat of Muslim Shareef to mean that if he had a need with his family, he would fulfill that need. But what's not mentioned in Muslim Shareef is Laya Musliman, and that's where the whole debate is about. Laya Musliman.